Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence with Just Ask. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're here at Forest Grill. Hurry back and join me.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence with Just Ask. Now today, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing something quite unique, something we haven't done before, but we want to give it a try. So we're here today at Forest Grill with Chef Brian Paulson. Good afternoon, Chef.
Hi, how are you?
Glad to be here.
Welcome to my humble abode.
Thank you.
My lair.
Okay. Now, Chef Paulson, we're doing something quite unique this time around because we want to show our viewers that we can go into a restaurant establishment and do a taping of a food demonstration. So tell us a little bit about yourself as well as Forest Grill.
Well, I'm the chef owner here at Forest Grill. We've been here 5 years, Birmingham. I've had numerous restaurants around the Detroit metro area spanning 37 years. I've been in this market and dedicated to Detroit my whole career. What we're going to do today, and I don't know, your viewers are really interested in a lot of fat and butter, or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Wrong show.
Wrong show, sorry. I got mixed up. No.
Okay.
We're going to show that great cooking comes from ingredients and technique. And you can do wholesome, healthy, nutritionally sound food. It all starts with the ingredients. And then method and technique comes into play, and then of course, plate presentation.
Right. Now, I know plate presentation is most important, and I shouldn't say most, but it gets people interested in wanting to try something different, sample something. So tell us about the meal today.
Well, plate presentation, people eat with their eyes, so it has to look good. If it's all dark and lumpy and unfriendly looking, nobody's going to jump at it. Today we're doing a coq au vin, which is braised chicken and red wine, with a rice pilaf, and we're going to show the basic method of pilaf, which is sautéing the rice before they add the liquid.
Okay.
And a little bit of history behind it and why, coq au vin is a French national dish, why it's popular these days, and it's a great way, especially this time of year, when in the winter time like this, it's a heartier meal.
Okay.
Natural chicken cooked in red wine, very, very simple.
Okay, so it's nothing you serve to children, but the adults can
Well,
enjoy.
you can do a variation, leave the wine out and do a braised chicken.
Braised chicken.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, we definitely are looking forward to observing the demonstration today, and hopefully some of our viewers will take notes.
Yeah.
And,
well, there's a quiz later.
A quiz.
There's an 8-question quiz for all your viewers.
Okay.
I'm going to mail it, so they better pay attention.
Okay. Did you get that, ladies and gentlemen? Pay attention to now, we don't know if you're going to win anything. Are they going to win anything? We don't know if you're going to win anything, but the idea of it is to start to prepare meals more delectable for your family, nutritional most definitely, and do better planning. As the winter months come along, we do want to stay inward, so maybe we should be trying to prepare more healthier nutritional meals so that we can prepare to look even better in the summertime. You think so?
I think so.
Okay.
And along those same lines, when you plan your meals, think of like this braised chicken and wine for today, but if you don't use the wine, it's an excellent dish that reheats. So if you spend a day cooking in the kitchen, you can make 5-6 meals for the week if you plan it out correctly.
Right.
I've got 5 children myself, and when they were little, I used to, on Sundays, I would cook for my wife because it's such a chore raising 5 children.
Wow.
And I would make simple things like carbonade de boeuf flamand and things, well.
Okay.
But the idea was a braise or moist heat cooking, fresh chicken breast sauteed. That would be like Monday because that's done. But then later in the week we'd have braised short ribs, which reheats really well.
Okay. What do you think about the school systems bringing back what they call home ec, but it shouldn't be called home ec anymore, but implementing cooking back into the schools.
I think it's critical. I think it's very important. I think they call it lifestyle or life something.
Something of that nature.
And I like it. I mean, I think everybody should know how to cook. Everybody should know how to balance a checkbook. Everybody should know how to do the laundry.
Right.
You know, these are important traits to have.
I hope in the years to come that they bring it back, or even if they have to rename it, just bring it back, because I think the next generation should be more, educated in cooking and culinary arts. A lot of the culinary arts schools are great in turning out excellent chefs, and so we're going to meet another one later on tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so your chef that works along with you is Chef Nick?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, we're going to come back and talk to Chef Nick. All right, ladies and gentlemen, prepare to watch a very delightful and entertaining show. We'll be right back.
Clean kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
And welcome back. Now, ladies and gentlemen, just a moment ago, we had just met Chef Brian Paulson. Now we have to meet Chef Nick Janatal. So, Nick, welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about yourself here at Forest Grill.
Well, I'm the chef de cuisine here, so I'm running the day-to-day operations while Chef Brian's building his empire, if you will, with his charcuterie, his work with Garden Fresh, and his teaching at Schoolcraft. So he's quite a busy man, so I try to supplement here in the restaurant.
Okay, now tonight's meal, do you have anything you want to tell us in particular about the dish?
Yeah, we're going to be teaching the class how to do coq au vin, which is a classical French dish. It's chicken and wine, technically. Usually use a rooster, an older chicken which has nice tendons, so when you braise it, it breaks down nicely, a lot of big flavor. And it's a traditional dish of Burgundy, which I love, so I'm excited about it.
Okay. So we're going to see a demonstration, ladies and gentlemen, of a complete meal made by these two gentlemen. So I want you guys to sit back and enjoy this evening's event with the demonstration at Forest Grill of coq au vin?
Coq au vin.
Coq au vin. We'll be right back.
2 outs with a runner on first base. Now the big guy comes up to bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 homers.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
So, welcome, pleasure here. These are good things, you know, we love edible wow. So today's class, coq au vin, right? A classic French braised chicken. Coq au vin means cocked with wine. Since it's so old, there's a lot of exercise muscle, there's connective tissue, the meat's stringy, so it requires moist heat cooking. In this case, we marinated it in red wine. Typically the wine is from Burgundy. This would be like a chicken version of beef bourguignon. Same concept. Slow cooked, moist heat cooking. There you go. Vanna, I'd like to buy a vowel. Also, you know, this dish, you know, I grew up on this dish because, simply put, in the mid-70s and early 80s, that's when I started cooking. It was not fashionable to be a chef like it is today. I mean, Food Network and food awareness is much greater now than it was 35 years ago. But I remember that at every restaurant that I worked at, we had coq au vin on the menu, and there was one person responsible for that. Anybody got an idea? Who? Julia Child. It was one of her first cooking shows that she did. She did coq au vin, and it became a national treasure for us. So Nick's job is to run the day-to-day business here, and and continue to perpetually evolve the natural Michigan cuisine that we've started. We've always done local. You know, I think that the term gate to plate and farm to table has been so overused lately that you know, people are just. I mean, I feel like Bob Seger. It's like I knew Detroit audiences were the greatest rock and roll audiences in the world. I knew that 10 years ago. You know? I mean, I always knew that the farmer was my best friend, and I also knew cooking seasonally was the best way to go because I got the premier ingredients for the cheapest price because they were abundant. If you've got asparagus in May and there's so much of it, the price drops. Here, I'll walk it. So you can see the pigment of the meat. The meat is what we call penetration. Some of you should know what that is. I'm talking about the wine. See the pigment of the meat? Then the meat is dusted in flour, so we brown it. Now,
What's the wine?
A dry red wine, usually a Burgundy. Better light over here.
So then, after you marinate for 24 hours, I marinate with the red wine, the aromatics, which I'm using clove, star anise, black pepper, bay leaf, thyme. Strain the chicken out. I take the mirepoix out, and I start reducing the red wine. In another pan, the traditional garnish for coq au vin is bacon, onions, and mushrooms. So I cut down lardons, which is a cut, what is it, like a half a centimeter by a half
matchstick,
centimeter
a little
by 3
bit thicker than a
centimeters.
matchstick.
And I take the scrap from that and I render that out to sear the chicken in. So the chicken's now floured. I'm going to start searing.
Now, searing the meat, the purpose of this is caramelization. Caramelization in cooking is flavor. And any good cook knows that any opportunity you have to build flavor, you take it. So you could just sweat this without color, and the water activity of the mussel will come out and make a braising juice. And it would be fine. You would not die, I swear to God. But dusting and marinating it like this, dusting it in flour, crusting it like that, caramelization, nice color on the meat, will give you a depth of flavor.
So we flour the meat for a few reasons. One, it creates a natural nuttiness in the chicken. Also, it will help thicken the final product.
Yeah, this classically, you know, this is a real peasant dish, right? A real farm dish. Classically, you would use the chicken blood to thicken. Use the blood to thicken. When you use blood for thickening, you can never boil the sauce. Blood is actually a wonderful ingredient.
So rice pilaf, another traditional French dish, very simple to make. All it is essentially is aromatics. We're using garlic and onions and thyme. And then rice, I use a little wine and stock, and you heat everything up with bacon. So right now I'm sweating onions, thyme, garlic, and butter until tender. It's essentially you cook all your veg until tender because you really want to get all the sweetness out of each component you have.
The pilaf method, by definition, the raw rice itself is sautéed. So, as opposed to boiling or steaming the rice, where it's typically a 1.5 to 1 ratio, where you take 1.5 cups of water, bring it to a boil, add 1 cup of rice, stir it, bring it back to boil, simmer 17 minutes, you got steamed rice. Perfect every time. In a pilaf method, you sweat your onions in butter and aromatics, garlic, thyme, bay leaf, whatever. And then you add your raw rice and saute it. This dry heat hits the outer shell of the rice and takes a nutty flavor. And then you add your warm broth to that, and then cover in usually 17 to 18 minutes. It's done in the oven or on top of the stove. If you do it on top of the stove, be sure, or in the oven, you need a tight-fitting lid. If you don't have a tight-fitting lid, your steam will escape and you get uneven cooking to the rice. You know, I teach full-time at Schoolcraft College, and I teach charcuterie, and for 18 years I've been doing it. And I work with all these master chefs. And when we sit around and have lunch, we'll talk about the importance of, you know, braising pheasant legs and thighs and roasting the breast. We'll talk about the right way to peel a carrot or things like that. It's really interesting to me. One of the topics we talked about is when do you add wine to rice? In the beginning or at the end? specifically more like risotto. Risotto is done differently than pilaf method, although the risotto is an arboreal rice. The rice is sauteed also in olive oil, and then the liquid or stock is added in 3 stages. You have to do 3 absorption stages for risotto. When risotto is done after the 3rd stage, you have to eat it. Period. It can't be. It's not a good dish to reheat after it's been done that way. You can reheat it, take it to stage 2, and then finish at stage 3. Finish with cream butter, Parmesan, whatever flavor profile you want.
So early on in my career, I was told, which I can't believe you don't really think about it, but cooking you use every sense you possibly have. You're listening to how hot is it to sear. You can tell by how many boils you hear, how many pops you hear coming out of the oil. How hot is the rice? Well, I can hear, I can see, you know, and you gotta use everything, smelling, every sense you possibly have. Rice pilaf, I had to stop, or the wine being down a sec, I had to stop, bring it up to just a bubble. I'm gonna cover it and put it in the oven, and then ready to check it in 25 minutes.
You know, wait. Is this enough for 40 people? You know another thing that chefs have in their car all the time? A loaf of bread and 2 fish.
Belgian endive, asparagus, orange juice, orange, and Parmesan, with a little salt and black pepper.
So Nick added the tomato paste to the vegetables in the pan. In French cooking, this is called pincé. It's a method that is used in what's called integral sauces. By definition, integral sauce is a sauce derived from the liquid the meat was cooked in. So pincé aids in not only flavor, but also clarification. The acid in the tomato, as the sauce kind of happily bubbles along, the tomato paste helps pull impurities out. And then you, as the French would say in the classic kitchen, skim off the floaties.
It's extremely important when using tomato paste that you cook it long enough. If you don't cook it long enough, you get a really chalky, tomatoey taste. I recommend doing at least 20 minutes. The French say you're looking for a rusty color to develop, which is more of an orange, and the tomato paste will break as well. So by breaking, I mean you'll see oil come out of it, and then you know you're in the right spot. It's an atrocity not to cook the tomato long enough. So
Can you spell that?
I won't right now. So we're also developing the fond. Fond is the meat that comes off of the chicken while searing, off the tomato paste, the proteins that start sticking to the bottom. That is essential in cooking. So nice braised, succulent.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today I'm just an aluminum can, but one day I could be a stadium.
And we're back now, ladies and gentlemen. I have a few questions for these two gentlemen because a lot of people want to know how did they get started in their careers. And basically, if you're a person that's planning on going to culinary school or have a passion for food, you want to hear from these two experts on where they may have started, the ladder that they came up with, and then it'll help you make your decision in future. Like, I know I want to try that. So, Chef Paulson.
Just like any business, to be really successful, you have to have passion. You really have to care about what you're doing. And cooking is exactly that, and the restaurant business is exactly that. And now, I said before, I was 37 years in Detroit and committed. Now I look for the next generation, and Nick is a perfect example of the next generation of chef. He's under 30, but his skill set is way above because he's passionate from a very early age. Why don't you tell everybody where you worked and your educational background?
Well, I got my start from my uncle. He bought into a restaurant, and I was always talking about cooking and watching the Food Channel and, you know, kicking it up a notch with Admiral Lagasse. And he brought me in. I worked part-time doing insurance, helping him with that because he owned a company. And then at night I'd work in the restaurant. And I hated working in a cubicle. I couldn't stand being confined. And I love the passion, the drive, the energy of the kitchen. And that's what really drew me in. From there, I went to culinary school at the Culinary Institute of America. I worked at a few Michelin 3-star restaurants, including 11 Madison Park in Manhattan, El2O. I helped open the Elysian Hotel in Chicago, which is now the Waldorf Astoria. Always looking to learn more, and I'm like a sponge. I just can't learn enough.
So what would you say to someone who has the same passion as you do? You just said clearly that working in a cubicle was not your style. So in the event that you started to dabble into the food service industry, and did you start off like in a dish tank and go on through the whole series, or did you actually just go straight into the kitchen?
Well, I started on a pantry, that's what they called it,
Okay.
Where I was making creme brulees and cheesecakes and green salads with slices of tomatoes and Italian dressing. And then I would help out on the dish at the end of the night. But it was...
We still all do dishes.
Yeah.
You never get out of the dish
Right.
tank.
Dishes are
I mean, a
always
real
part of it.
restaurant guy is in the dish tank no matter what, because part of being, especially a restaurant like this, the success is based on teamwork. So everybody, there's no job that is above anybody.
That's great.
Whether it's making a foie gras torchon or scrubbing pots and pans, because it's equally important.
That's great. That's great. And one thing we wanted to impress upon our viewers is that, you know, in preparing a meal, it doesn't take a team because one person can actually do it, but you like working as a team when you have others in there doing certain things with you. So do you enjoy working with your team as a part of preparing a meal like this?
Yeah, the team morale is the most important thing in a kitchen. Getting people that fit and work well together, communicate properly. I worked in a lot of kitchens where there's a lot of animosity, you know, and for me, I want a culture of people that want to learn, build each other up, and compete with each other to get to the top.
It's like a sports team.
It's great.
You have to have a good communication. You got to read the next guy's move. You know, basketball, baseball, whatever. If you got a team that everybody's kind of working for the common goal, then better success.
Okay.
Right? Super Bowl.
That's great.
World
That's
Series.
Great. That's
Stanley
great.
Cup.
Oh, anything else left?
That's it.
Oh, okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna get this guy the mic. Okay, okay. All right, you guys.
Separate raw meats from other foods by using different cutting boards. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence from Just Dance, and today I have an interview with Rob Harper, co-publisher of Edible Wow magazine. Good afternoon, Rob.
Hi, Marsha. How are you?
I'm fine, fine. Glad to finally get a chance to meet you.
Hey, I'm so excited to spend time with you also.
All right. Now, Rob, this is a different twist for us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and Edible Wow magazine.
Well, my wife and I are the co-publishers of Edible Wow magazine, and Edible Wow is a magazine that celebrates all things local, food-related in southeastern Michigan. We write about the restaurants that buy and support local. We write about the young farmers. We write about the dairies, the cheese makers. Anything that is food-related and is local within the Detroit and southeastern Michigan market, we celebrate the abundance.
Wow.
And that's what we write about. We love that word, wow.
Wow. Look, I said it too. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, that's wonderful. Now, how did you guys get started?
Well, my wife and I were gardeners. My wife, Kate, is a master gardener, and I grew up with my Scottish grandparents gardening, and I used to be an analyst at Wells Fargo. 6 years ago, I was in San Francisco. I saw a magazine called Edible San Francisco, was blown away, read it cover to cover, called the publisher, asked him about the magazine, and he mentioned that there were 29 other edible magazines around the country, and it's a consortium. I'm a licensee. I researched the model and I bought the rights to publish here in southeastern Michigan. My wife and I quit our jobs, and my former colleagues at Wells Fargo think my rubber band snapped.
Okay.
And for 6 years we've been telling great stories, meeting wonderful people, introducing people to fine food, and getting involved in the childhood obesity programs here in southeastern Michigan. Eat well, shake the hand that feeds you.
That's good. That's good. You know, I know you have a lot of upcoming events that you're working on, but tell me one about, is it something that you're doing with Hybrid? Something that's coming up that you're doing in the school systems or something?
Well, what we have a program. Edible Wow donates hydroponic starter kits to the Detroit Public School middle schools to help teach the kids to grow vegetables year-round.
That's great.
We've worked with the Beckham Academy. We're planning on working with Carver. At present, we are setting up systems at Holy Trinity in Corktown. It's our way of educating these young kids that you can grow vegetables year-round and then transition out into the gardens and eat well, do well.
That's great.
And it's our commitment to the community.
Yeah. Now, how many partners do you have? I mean, is it a group of you guys that work together, different organizations, or how do you come together?
As an edible community, well, we have the ECI, Edible Communities Institute, and at present there are 80 edible magazines nationwide, and Edible Boston, Brooklyn, Portland, Vancouver, there are 80 of us, and we share best practices. So I get a magazine from Edible San Diego, and I see what's going on in their food market, whether it's the bees or the meat or the brewing. And when I publish Edible Wow, which is a quarterly magazine, we send a copy to all 79 others. So we're a very, very close organization that are all like-minded people.
That's good. That's good. I know we have a copy here.
Yes, this
is your what edition?
This is our 25th edition. This is actually an advanced copy. It's not even out yet.
Oh my goodness.
We had it sent here from the printer. It's due to be delivered in Detroit tomorrow, but we had it for tonight's event. And I can't tell you how excited we are to be working with Just Ask.
Thank you.
We are thrilled. Our organization is pleased to be a part of what you're doing.
Thank you. We look forward to working with you guys and educating our viewers and people, you know, underserved, trying to get them to eat better, eat healthier, and do more nutritional values for their family.
Well, we're very excited to do it. It's never a dull moment, and as mentioned, we get to bring people into the restaurant like Forest Grill. We'll have a Cooking with Edible Wow series in 2014. We'll be working with the Great Lakes Culinary Center in Southfield as our official test kitchen. We are co-chairs for the Greening of Detroit's annual Live Love Local event. 1,200 people, Shed 5, Eastern Market. It's a celebration of all things local.
Okay. Well, we're going to keep in touch so we can line them up and make sure our viewers get a chance to be involved.
I appreciate that,
All right,
Marcia.
thank you
very much.
Thank you.